Wake up at Holiday Inn Express to a can't-miss breakfast that's free with every stay. Count on all the hot, fresh coffee you need and an incredible breakfast buffet that has something for everyone, like eggs, cinnamon rolls, and even hot, fresh pancakes with all the toppings you crave. Next time, do yourself a favor and stay at a Holiday Inn Express with a can't-miss breakfast that's free with every stay. So, when you wake up at Holiday Inn Express, you'll wake up happy. A part of IHG Hotels and Resorts.
Just chatting definitely about your latest project and how you got there. And the latest project was Real Love. I've heard several cuts. Sounds like a fantastic record. It's just amazing what you've been able to put together. So how did you put it together? How did you get to this point?
Well, how did I get to specifically on the album itself was pretty simple. I was actually jamming with some boys, just doing some jam sessions on a Friday. I was invited to and said, "Come and jam with us." And so we'd go there, and some of the guys were okay musicians. And I noticed that a few of them in the room were pretty high level. And anyway, so one of them was Kevin Cook, and he was playing bass at the time in our jam sessions, and we just kind of disbanded that whole jam session. And a couple of weeks later, I got a call from Kevin, who I didn't really know well. I didn't know a lot about his musical history. And he called me up and said, "Listen, I got a studio, and I heard one of your songs in the jam session. And why don't you come out to the studio and see if we can't record something?" And so I went out with Kevin, and we started recording, and the project took about 2 years in the studio, just because we're super busy, and we recorded, ended up with 10 songs, and called the project Real Love, which was the first actual song that we brought into the studio, and so that's how the record came to be, the actual record itself. Which and it was a lot of fun. It was just it was almost like my own private studio with my own private engineer, and the drummer on the project too, Tommy Krukowski. He became a part of the project. So the three of us, I brought in the songs. I'd written some songs, and I brought them in, and we started playing around with that and making arrangements. And so Kevin turned out to that he's actually from Toronto, Ontario, and he's a professional engineer, and I didn't know it at the time, so it was just quite funny when I was jamming with these guys that I didn't know, what they were all about. And so yeah, and it was a lot of fun. Kevin brought a lot of experience in arrangements, and then we all of a sudden, these great musicians from Ottawa started rolling into the studio and doing their thing. So I got a bunch of jazz fusionist artists. So which is not my style, not my thing at all. And but yeah, it was a lot of fun. So they're some really good musicians that I got to play with on that project. So that's and then we had 10 songs recorded, and we didn't know what we were going to do, because what do you do today? And and then COVID-19 hit us. So then it's like, really, what do we do? So yeah, that's a bit about the recording project of it. And then we got a hold. We hooked up with Willow Sound Records, a local record label that's in Ottawa, and we've been promoting via social media ever since, because we can't tour right now. So and Ontario is probably different than Georgia. So Ontario is still under this lockdown that we're you can't even have a visitor in the house according to the Ontario government's rules. So it's different, but
yeah. How's the vaccination programs going up there? Georgia's not so great. I mean, US as a whole is doing probably a little bit better than Canada, but Georgia's not too good, but we're open for business. The numbers have been going down. So how's it up in Canada as far as numbers and all of that go? Vaccination?
The US had a real bad start, I think, to the virus, but then the vaccine rollout was really good down there. So we're catching up with that vaccine rollout. And but we're still, the numbers have started to come down. About a month ago, they were really bad.
Mm.
But they are starting to come down. The Ontario government did an announcement today that they're going to phase in normalcy, I guess we want to call it. They'll phase in normalcy over the next 12 weeks, probably. So it's not great. It's, we probably got about 5% vaccinated with one shot, maybe 10% in Ontario. So yeah, we're a long ways from getting everyone vaccinated off. I actually got my first appointment coming up next week. So we'll,
very good.
Yeah.
I did it all. I'm fully vaccinated. I had to go 4 weeks in between. I did the Moderna, which didn't have too much side effect for me, at least. We're doing all right. As far as, I'm sure you're just itching to get out there and perform the songs live. I've seen some of your live videos from this new project, so it's you want to probably hustle out there.
Oh, big time. So we kind of talk about it in a sort of in a dreaming sort of way, and then we're getting a little closer to actually putting something together. But every time we think about doing something, we seem to have a setback with COVID-19, and that I don't think we're really going to be doing anything until 2022, as far as really getting out there and live. But we'll see, one day at a time. But so now I'm in a studio, my own studio, with April. We do a show every Sunday night on my Facebook channel, which is fun. What's fun about that is you get to reach out to a lot of different people. So we got followers in Australia, and we got followers in the Philippines, and we got followers from Canada, of course, and Hong Kong, and of course from the U.S., and we've got some friends in the U.S. So that's kind of fun, but it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same as getting out there and playing live. But so really looking forward to it. I'm from down east in Canada, so Eastern Canada, and we would have some big shows planned down there, to take this new album and head back home and to do that homecoming sort of tour. But but I really think it's going to be postponed for a little bit. So we'll do the Facebook live stuff, and hopefully I can bring in a few of the guys and actually do like some band stuff. So most of the album is kind of a roots rock sort of sound. So but for now the followers get me and all by myself. So and yeah, so I think I've covered 180 songs or something in the last year. So it's I don't know if it's 100. Yeah, it's over 100 anyways. Yeah, of different artists, and just trying to keep the shows going. But it is great though. It is, social media is it's good. That sort of promotion is going to be around for good. I think it's podcasts like yourself, you have are starting to be, they're starting to get real popular again. And Facebook Live is a nice place to go on there and do some stuff. Facebook itself is a good promotional tool if you pay a few bucks for advertising. But
yeah, and it keeps you in practice. So it's not like you're just sitting around waiting for COVID to end. It's like you're out there now. You're doing the weekly performances, keeps you in, and your skills up too. Because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
And that's very good.
So a lot of so Kevin Cook, my partner on that's one of the things he always said, like, you have a reason to be playing all the time, if not anything else. You got to I'm playing, so that's a very good point. I get to play all the time, and also because I'm covering a lot of stuff, and I'm super busy, I got to squeeze in this time to learn. I think we're doing a Rod Stewart show on Sunday, so
nice.
But I got to learn the song. April just thinks I'm like a jukebox. So we'll do this and do that one, and we'll do this, and but it's good because the pressure still is kind of on. You know what I mean? It's still like you still got to perform, and you still got to bring it. So, but we have a great time, and April is on the show with me. So. And she's my partner in life and in this project, and so it's a lot of fun that we bring some music, and we try to just really bring some positive energy. You know, that's what the project is sort of it's a project of hope and resilience and the ability for the human being to change their lives for something good, and it's kind of working. You know, that's the vibe that we have with the followers that are on there, and that's April's a lot of fun, and we get to play off each other a little bit, and she's a musician too, so
good.
Yeah.
Is that how you met through being in the music industry?
No, actually. No, but she was an employee of mine, so I can say that, and not for long because I was management and she wasn't. So we couldn't play that. So actually, April, she was an employee of mine, and she walked up to me one day after we had started a relationship and said, "I resign," and and said, "You know what? You're just way more important in this job, and I don't want the hassle, so I resign, and let's move on with life." And we did. So. Somehow, Robert, we ended up with a baby. I don't know how that happened, but so
it's a miracle. It is.
So we have a little 10-month monkey with us, and so life has been pretty good. I mean, we're pretty grateful for our life, because I know a lot of people are struggling with this. With COVID, and I mean, there's you think of single mothers that are living in the city and urban areas and can't get out there and work, or can't find babysitters, or just the stories are just horrible. So for us, COVID has been annoying. For the music project's been annoying, but overall, we're very grateful. We're very lucky to be where we are. So.
Been an absolute nightmare, but while whenever there's a nightmare, you find opportunity underneath all of that, and that's what this new project has probably come to fruition. The bass, Kevin serves as the bassist, and Tom is on drums for Real Love.
So Kevin's on bass for the whole for all the tunes, and Kevin's on and Tommy's on drums and percussions. So he's on the kit, and the percussions you hear in there is Tommy as well. Fantastic musicians. They have tons of experience, and so if you listen to some of the songs, you're going to hear these different sort of rhythms that they brought. I bring in the songs with my acoustic guitar, and then we'd start playing around, and they bring there's a song that's not out yet, but it's a Suko sort of West African, Sudanese sort of rhythms that go with it, and Afro-Cuban rhythms that are in there, and then some straight out more rock and roll stuff. But they brought tons of experience to this, so it was a huge learning experience for me to be working with very experienced musicians and right across the board. I'm an experienced musician, but I play my thing, and these guys they were forced to play in all kinds of bands throughout their life to put food on the table. So they had to learn all these styles, but yeah, grateful for those boys.
Yeah, and putting it together, it sounds like Kevin's a pretty good technical genius. He calls the studio his Northeastern Utility Muffin Research Outpost. I thought I saw him say that at one point.
Where that's from?
What's the origin of that?
So the origin is Frank Zappa.
I remember him quite well when I was growing up.
Yeah, so Frank Zappa. So I'm not a big Zappa fan. Kevin is, but so there's either Frank Zappa had a studio that was similar to that, or but yeah, that's where that Kevin's he's quite a character. Yeah, he is a genius. He's a technical genius. And he's got this little alarm thing when we're in the studio, and if he over panics and really gets stressed out, we have to hit the alarm on him, and that's just to say, okay, now we're getting too stressed out here. But yeah, he's been an engineer, a producer, a coach for me. He was also a vocal teacher, Kevin. So yeah, when I heard that's good, Bobby, that's when I knew we'd hit something. That's when I knew we're on, we're done. That's good. That's the best I would get out of him. No, that's good. And but yeah, no, he's a great guy. He's a character.
And what's it like hearing the playback and seeing and hearing down to the final mix? And you must be like totally blown away with what he does with all the tracks and puts everything together.
I'll be honest with you, when you first start hearing it, coming back at you, I'm very amazed. Then you go through this period where you're sick of all of it because you've heard it too much. And because I was very involved in the mix and the mixing and that too. So, yeah, and we would do different styles too. I mean, some were very traditional sort of studio, lay that rhythm section down, and then we build on top of that, and then play, and then sometimes we just one song let's go out in the patio, and I'll bring all my recording stuff up, and we'll just do the song there. Yeah, I do some mixing, I do some engineering, I play with some software and that, but it's hard. Your ears have to be trained, you have to hear a lot of and he talks way over my head most of the time. He says, "You understand this, right, Bobby?" And I was like, not really, but yeah.
I could totally identify with that because I do news editing and I do feature news editing as well. So it's like, editing and hearing it back and playing it back, and then trying to, when I put music on something, I'm trying to get the mix down right. You get sick of it after a bit. It's like there's a point where you got to put it to bed. It's like we got to move on and go on to the next thing.
Yeah, no. Well, especially if you're doing that, that's what Kevin was doing all the mixing. So yeah, it's got to be in other projects too. But yeah, there's a bit of torture in that, it seems, for me. I just like to play a song.
Yeah.
And have someone else record it, and then I can hear that final product back. Hearing the final product back is really cool. It's like, wow, this sounds pro.
A lot of work.
Yeah, Kevin with the headsets on and hours and hours. I mean, these engineers will. For a lot, depending on a project, for every hour that we record something, there are 10 hours on a mix, so and over and over, and piece by piece, and part by part, and instrument by instrument, they tackle. So but yeah, a lot of fun. I learned a lot about being in the studio, because I could be in the studio with Kevin and have that kind of access, which was different. I play music, but it was very cool to just be in there and have access to the board.
That is so cool. So Real Love, the theme of it is you pick up on a lot of themes actually, but the main one is about addiction and recovery. Can you speak to a little bit about that and how you've melded that into the title track and throughout the whole project?
Yeah. So I mean, the songs themselves were written on my own in 2017. I got sober after years of battling alcoholism. For the most part, alcoholism, but some with alcohol comes all kinds of other nonsense too. That so in 2017. When life had just gotten way out of control. I'd lost my family, my job, I'd lost my car, I lost everything. I pretty much was I had a roof over my head, and a guitar, and maybe a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, and but in that and then I just it's funny how it is. You think that alcoholism, you think that it's it's got to be the rock bottoms that change it, and I wish it were. because for the alcoholic, if it's that rock bottom that changes it, then most of us would long say, okay, because
Sure.
But it was just a period of time to say, I can't do this anymore. It was really, Robert, to be honest with you, it was binary. It was 0 or 1. It was life or death. At that point, it was, what am I going to do here? Somehow, by the grace of God, I got sober in 2017. And really started working on myself, really started looking at myself and what changes I needed to make, and trying to change my mindset and trying to change my thought process. And with that, as a musician, I picked up the guitar and I picked up a pen and started writing songs, and the songs were very much therapy for me. These songs were written is very much a part of recording my experience of sobriety, because in that first year in sobriety for a lot of addicts is that's the tough year. That's the your best friend is gone. The substance is gone. You have nothing. You're just you just have you and your fears and your past and the mistakes and the demons of all of that. But I begin to let it go, and I begin to write these songs, and that's what Real Love is. I mean, Real Love, the title track to the album, is me coming to terms with what love is. Is love chasing a bunch of good-looking women around? Is love but I think I learned that love has to start with the self, and I think that's what real it's like. I can't get out of this if I can't find a way to forgive myself and love myself, then I'm not going to be much worth out there. Trying to rebuild this, and so I learned this, and I was using music, and just super grateful to have a bunch of really good friends around me, including some of those people on the record, and all of a sudden the people started coming into my life that when I decided to surrender it all and say, you know what, I really don't know much. I just want to start this all again. There's a song by Tool, actually. I don't know if you know the band Tool, and they talk about that. And they say, if I could just start this all over again. And that's what it felt like. And so I was writing songs. Real Love was more philosophical, I guess, talking about something. I write a song called Dogs, where, again, it's kind of philosophical. And I say, let the dogs go free kind of thing. And then other songs were just written of me trying to create this positive state for myself, like when times were really hard, when I was trying to make a comeback, and then I just write these songs, like maybe I'll imagine myself, I'm in the middle of a city, but I'm just going to imagine that I'm at a lake all day and write a song about that. So that's and then let's make some amends and let's make some apologies, and these songs started coming up with and they were therapeutic, and I think what Kevin and those songs was that I was honest, whether the songs were great or not. Sometimes the honesty in those things is what can be picked up upon, and I was certainly honest. So and that's the project, and April and I we still are trying to now is get the message out, and it's not the message that the message is using my story as an example of the ripple effect as an alcoholic is horrible. It's very negative for the people that are around you and the people that love, but then a recovering alcoholic can have a big ripple effect, and that ripple effect can be hope, and for me, when I thought hope was all gone, and then I got a glimpse of it again. What a moment. It was like, life had changed. The sky was this super blue I could look at, and the sun was bright, and I saw things differently. And then so I have this record and this opportunity, and I said, well, that's what I'd like to do with it. If it's a big success, great. I mean, we all want to have our music be a success, but in the meantime, let's get a message out there and of hope. And that's what it is. I mean, that's not just trying to reach out to an addict or an alcoholic. There's people in a state in mental health, with mental health states that can seem hopeless. Like I felt very hopeless at a time in my life, and but there is a way out, and also to show that unbelievably, as we look at the world around us sometimes, that the world is still good. It's still, people are still good, because I know it, because I saw them come around me and pick me up off the ground without any wanting anything in return, and then I knew that, wow, the news is bad, and politics are what they are, and all of that stuff, but people are still good, I believe, and certainly that's my experience, and what an experience. So I'd like to give back. In short, I'd like to give back to what those beautiful people gave me, which was hope, and sometimes that hope can change things. Then I met April, and somehow we ended up with a baby, and life is very different right now for me. So life is good. Life is busy, and I'm the greatest thing out of all of this is, for me, I say to myself, I'm just a reliable, average human being now, which, as an alcoholic and an addict, you were never anything average. It was always chaos. It was always...
A change of seasons means adventures in rain, shine, mist, or snow, or all of the above on the same day. This season, prepare for every season with the Allbirds Mizzle collection. With all-condition traction and materials and features to keep you comfy and dry no matter what, you'll be ready for anything. Go to allbirds.com and use code FRESHSOCKS for a free pair of socks with your purchase. ALLBIRDS.com, code FRESHSOCKS. Getting caught in the wrong shoes can interrupt your plans for the day, like when that 10% chance of rain ends up looking more like 100%. When the transition to fall and winter feels more like experiencing every season on the same day, there's the Allbirds Mizzle collection. These shoes were made for misty morning walks, surprise snow days, and anything a trip to the dog park might bring. The whole collection brings together water-repellent technology and classic style, so you can stay warm, dry, and comfy during your everyday adventures. Cross off errands with the splash protection on the Wool Runner Mizzle. Dash through cold and wet weather with all-condition traction and reflective details on the Wool Dasher Mizzle. Or upgrade to next-level protection with the Mudguard on the Wool Runner-Up Mizzle Plus. Go to allbirds.com and use code FRESHSOCKS for a free pair of socks with your purchase. ALLBIRDS.com, code FRESHSOCKS.
You couldn't be depended on, So now if someone woke me up at 2:00 in the morning, they needed to go somewhere, they needed to do, I'm the guy. You can call on me, and I can, I'm sober, and I can do it. So it's just amazing to that I look back over the last 3 or 4 years and see how life can be if for, at least for myself, if you just kind of leave it go, leave that ego go, and leave other people lead you, and that's been the beauty of it, just that I could let other people lead me, including this music project where I would just bring in the song and say, okay guys, what do you think? And all right, let's do it like this, and there was no pushback from me. I just went with the flow, and so very grateful now to be in the position I am. So we can come back. We always can come back from the worst of times,
It really proves it. It really does. And you're telling people who are struggling with mental illness, alcoholism, drug addiction, they're not alone. And it is giving back. And that's the greatest thing about a rocker who's, is always recovering. I mean, that's always part of it. You're always recovering, and that doesn't stop. You work on it every single day. I think there's nothing more valuable and great, and a great gift to the world through music and letting these people know there is, other people who struggle with this as well. So that's a great kudo to you.
it's an important point. I think the point is that, you know, when you're going through the worst of times, struggling with addictions, you really do feel alone. I mean, I felt I had the, you know, the windows closed and the curtains down in a room, and my phone off, and isolated and alone, and didn't really know of this this world out there that actually wanted to help, you know. And that's the key. I think there are other people. They don't want anything from you. They would just like to see you sober, and that's it, you know. And so that's the message that I hopefully I can, and try to come across as not, you know, as not a know-it-all about it. I don't really know much about someone else's experiences in the recovery, but I do know you can get by it, and you can have a great life, and be sober. And so I'd heard someone say, I think the quote was something like, they said, if someone told me that I'll never get anything back that I lost in my life, but I'll be sober forever, that's good enough. And I know for an alcoholic or an addict, you know, just being sober is good enough. What do you mean? That doesn't sound very exciting. But unless you do a lot of work, and then you realize that that's, you know, this one life that we have to live is just about being able to wake up in the morning and listen to some birds, and you know, being able to function, and that is good enough, you know. And then things do start coming back. So you know, that's the miracle of recovery. But you are right, though. It's one day at a time, and that it's easy enough. That's my life. It drives April nuts. I really don't look at a future. I don't in any kind of normal way. It's like I have today, and that's it. And you know, I have a little medallion that says one breath at a time. And you know, we can get by with one breath at a time. We can just make those moments good over and over again. Then recovery is not a bad thing. You know, it's good. So.
Interesting. So going way back before all of this, you grew up in Eastern Quebec. What was the experience like there, and how did you get into music growing up?
So I grew up in a place called La Gaspésie, so Eastern Quebec. So it's at the northern, you know, it's I grew up on a bay, so it's coming off the St. Lawrence Seaway, coming off the St. Lawrence and the Atlantic Ocean. So it's on the eastern part, and the Gaspé is a place full of different cultures. French. My mother's from a Scottish culture. There's Irish, and there's a lot of Acadians, and so this mix of cultures. What I grew up, and native people, Micmacs, that were there. And so I grew up in this whole multicultural place. And one of the things is music. You know, music is huge down on the East Coast, and everyone plays music in their kitchens down home. So and I come from a extremely musical family, so that's where my music comes from. I mean, there was you know, if I visited friends' house and there was no acoustic guitars around, and that seemed really weird. Like, what's wrong here? There's, you know, so down home it was Christmas parties were just one uncle or cousin or playing one song after another. So that's how I got into music.
Nice. So through school, did you perform at school, and then did you go off to college, or you just went right into just gigging and touring? And
no, I didn't play in high school. I was an athlete in high school. I concentrated more on sports. I was a hockey player. I liked track and field. I liked soccer. I liked and it wasn't until I went to university. And when I got to university, I listened to every Bob Dylan song you could possibly listen to. and started covering all his stuff and playing, and then doing some writing. And but music was on and off for years. So I didn't do a lot of touring for a lot of my adult life. I ran my own. I was an entrepreneur. I ran my own company, and music was more on the side. And I'd play all the time, and I'd write, but it wasn't until I got to Ottawa that I really brought music back and started really taking it seriously again. But inside the family, I have my cousin who's he's a multi-Juno, which is our big music awards in Canada. He nominated several times. He's won one. He's huge in Quebec in the French world, and and several uncles that are, super talented musicians. And but yeah, it wasn't really until I got to Ottawa, and it really wasn't until I got sober, to be honest, that I really realized that, wow, I can do something here with music. And so this is a complete project in sobriety and in a new world for me. And this, now, yeah, of course, and now we got COVID-19, so we can't really get out there and tour and play when I'm, but yeah, so it's always been there though. Music's been, my father played guitar, and everyone played guitar in my family, and everyone in the Gaspé did play some kind of instrument, the spoons or harmonica or tap on the table. It's very musical down there.
So you pretty much just picked it up just by ear. Most musicians I speak with don't read music. I know that takes a lot of work and effort to do that. So most are working by sound, and that's how they pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, I could read music, but a 5-minute song would take me a couple of days to get through, because I can read it. I know what that means, but I play by ear, and I just that's how I play. When I was first learning to play, I worked with a music teacher who wanted me to learn the rudiments of music, because he was actually a graduate of jazz. So I just wanted to play chords and play those Bob Dylan songs. But so I did learn a little bit on theory and on reading, but I don't use it, to be honest. I pick up on a song, and that's how I play.
Did you like Bob Dylan before Electric, after Electric, or just both phases?
Oh, I just love Bob Dylan.
Just anything.
Bob Dylan, of course, he was around long before I really started picking up. But yeah, no, his as a songwriter, just to listen to Dylan and how he put these stories together, these words, and I'm still amazed. I still look back at some of Dylan's early stuff and say, wow, I think even Dylan said, I'll never be able to write that like that again, that early stuff that he's doing. But yeah, he's my young fella's Dylan, named after Bob Dylan. So in part, I think April says there's another reason for it, but at least 50%, my part of it was with Bob Dylan. So yeah, electric guitar. I got to see him a few times, and I guess when he was in concert, I guess when he came out with the acoustic guitar, that really that was really moving, as opposed to the electric stuff. But yeah, no, it's just his lyrical prowess is just there's no one like him.
Definitely deserve the Peace Prize. There's just no question about that. But and everything else, all the other accolades that have been showered on him over the years.
Yeah, the Nobel Prize in Literature that he won. Yeah.
Yeah, just incredible. So yeah, any other influences? Obviously, Rolling Stones is how far back do the Stones go for you?
Yeah, the Stones. I mean, the Stones, they influence everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really play like the Stones. I'm a huge Stones fan, but I would say more into, Tom Petty is a huge influence. I'm a huge Petty fan. Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, the singer-songwriters were my influence. A band in Canada called the Tragically Hip. They were, I love that sound that they had. I don't know if you know the Hip. The U.S. doesn't know a lot about the Tragically Hip. In Canada, they're like gods. Unfortunately, the lead singer actually died young a few years back of brain cancer. But and they had a Facebook Live show today that brought back. They were in the studio with Daniel Lanois in New Orleans, and they had a bunch of material that they just re-released. So Canada's super happy today with the Tragically Hip. If you haven't seen them or heard of them, look them up. Very, very different, but they're Canada's band. But so they influenced me, and but I liked Iron Maiden, and I liked some Johnny Cash, and I liked so I would say Petty and Bob Dylan, though. I mean, Petty was just brilliant, So Florida boy, and but this all kinds of singer-songwriters, and now I'm doing all kinds of, like the Rod Stewart stuff. I got to see him a few years ago. I'm going to cover that, and then you realize, there's just a lot of great music out there. Not all the stuff that I listen to, but just stuff that's just out there, and brilliant stuff.
So all these people are making their way into your Facebook Live events. Yeah, if we tune in one night, we could expect to hear some Petty, Dylan, and the rest, and any other artists. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we sort of have to. Some nights are just like a mix of different things, but we've more.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
We more honed in our show a little bit, I guess, April and I, and it's just a little bit easier to do an hour show when you got one artist that you can talk about and a little bit about the history of that artist. And so that's what we do. We'll play some songs, we'll talk about it, and we'll get people interacting where I'll say, this song was written in what year, and could someone Google it? And so someone does Google it and throw it in, and we have this interaction like that about the artist, and you try to play the stuff that your followers kind of like, but
nice.
Every once a week though, it's if you're playing on tour or something, even if you're covering stuff, you kind of have a set list, and I don't really have a set list. The set list goes hundreds and hundreds of songs.
That's awesome. Yeah, just hearing that you covered these people, and just what an inspiration they are. Growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, a band from Canada that was huge, that made it big, there was Rush. That was like almost like religion. Did you ever grow up listening to any of Rush's stuff?
Oh, yeah, wow. If I would say, if there's a Canadian listener, I'd say no to that, then I'd be in trouble. Rush is, technically Rush is, even globally are known as some of the best musicians that ever played rock and roll, but I wasn't a huge fan of Rush, but definitely they could rock.
Yeah, it was it was amazing in Cleveland how this goes back to 1973, 74, when it was really there back then. And you probably remember this too. And in the 70s, certain DJs would get a track and play it, and then that would catch on, and then could go nationally and even globally. But these days, what it is, you're on Spotify. Are you on all these other services as well?
Oh yeah, we're on Spotify and Apple Music and all that. I think there is the latest stat was there's 90,000 songs per day of new releases being released on Spotify. It's a totally different world that if you can get on a radio station back then, that completely could change the world. Right now it's there's still stuff that you want to be on a radio station, but you have so much ability. I guess the difference now is your ability to target globally with Facebook, especially with Facebook and Instagram, but your ability to really target it. So the whole idea now is not to have the millions and the masses around you like you once did with Tom Petty and Rush and you now it's if you can get 1,000 super fans, let's say, spending $100 a year on you, then you're making a salary. So that and you have the ability now to sort of build the business. So the indie musician now has got some tools that weren't available 20 years ago, 25 years, and we have some tools now that even the bigger major record labels don't have, because they're still trying to do it the old way, and the old way is not going to work anymore. Taylor Swift, I think, made $150 with 1 million followers on Spotify. So, she probably made more than $150, but it's not big money, So touring is the big money now, and that's where I'm fortunate, but there's a lot of my buddies and there's a lot of friends that rely on touring, and most of the indie music is still relying on touring for making money. So, but it's, I think you had said earlier, we have the opportunity to do some stuff with social media. It's just you have to learn different tools now, different tricks, So, and I'm very fortunate with Willow Sound Records and Tara Shannon, who I work with, that she had already honed in on this stuff even before COVID. So, and that marketing end and how to build the business as an indie artist, and so it's completely changed, but there's still lots of room to make some money. Music will never go away, so.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so true. Another great single I heard, it's called Always. What's the story behind that track? It's really beautiful. I don't know if it's kind of reminding me of like a little bit of a Willie Nelson vibe. I'm just kind of shooting there. It's kind of just reminds me of that. It's a very beautiful song.
You got that train beat that Tommy does on it, so it's like you're on a train.
Yeah.
Train is train. That song was actually much slower, and that's an example of going into the studio. And Tommy was a little ADHD, and sometimes he'll just start. Well, let's do it this way, and he picked up and he put this really cool rhythm with the brushes on the kit, and so always is an example of me going back into my old life and saying I'm sorry. So it's a story about my ex-wife, and sort of on that. And just me wanting to reach out and in a song and say, no matter what's happened, and no matter all the pain and all the everything that we went through, I just wish you well. And that's what the song is, So may God be with you, and so a very heartfelt song, just about and very specific to it's an apology. I have another song called Apology. There's a few in there. You live a life like I did, Robert. You got a few apologies to make, so it might take more than one or two songs, but that's what it's about. And a very good example of that, just letting Tommy and Kevin sort of put that rhythm that you hear on it, and just just jiving it up a little, making a little more upbeat, and that's what they did. So yeah, that's always.
That's always so inspirational to see artists do that, and somebody who's as big as like Elton John really just basically went down and went to real rehab. Didn't say I'm going to rehab light. Really did the hard work, He was like, yeah, I was scraping things off of toilets and stuff like that. I was this big international star. And it's amazing to me because they just become so honest, and they really turn this corner and really admitting, hey, yeah, I messed up. This is, and I've turned it over this new leaf now. So it's inspirational to see artists do that. That's
yeah. Eric Clapton did the same, and there's been, and I think whether you're multi Grammy award winning billionaire artist, or you're an indie artist, or you're just anyone at all, sobriety I think really starts with let's get honest, and that's what it's about. No matter what your status is, no matter what's going on, if you can't be honest, you're probably not going to stay sober. But that takes a lot. That you have to I was selfish, egotistical, partly narcissistic, and then I realized, why am I all those things? And then I'm just full of fear. I fear everything. I'm tremendously insecure. Then you have to face that, and you're in life saying, well, now what? I'm okay. Now I've admitted I'm all those things. So what's the way out of this? And the way out of it is honesty. It's just, you have to be honest about it, and then realize that we are not what we were, and we are what we can be, so just do the next right thing. Be honest and do the next right thing. Pretty simple stuff, but if you do it, you can really end up in a better place.
You've gotten into doing some music videos. What's that like as far as getting that done and putting another layer on top of your artistry there?
Well, the video, we'd like to be doing a whole lot more. Like I said, we're under these restrictions right now that you can't have more than 4 people in the house. So we got one video done when we had sort of a break in some of the rules of with COVID-19, and we got that Real Love video done, which it was a lot of fun. It was, but the original video was intended to be in a big club with all kinds of people and all kinds of different things that. Real Love is about the rejection of that scene, of the club scene and the alcohol, and that's what it is. So it was a little bit more difficult to put it together. We actually did it in our own home, which was the only venue we could get, and so we got it done. It was a lot of fun, but that's part of the drag right now for touring and music videos and just getting a haircut. Like, I mean, it's getting annoying, Robert, the whole thing. I understand it, but but it is what it is. And hopefully, God willing, we'll be out of this soon. So, and hopefully making a whole bunch more videos and doing some stuff, but at least we're saving a little bit of cash. We're saving some money, not having to do the videos and putting more money into the studio here and doing that kind of thing. But it would be nice to get a few more videos, because you can do a little bit more expression with it. You can tell a little bit more of the story with the video, even though it's not real big now, like it was in the 80s, when I was growing up in Much Music. But videos are still, they're still useful, and you can still tell a story, tell a different story with it, or add to the story of the lyrics. And so hopefully we can get a few more done soon.
I was able to see Much Music because I've been working in TV for so long. I remember that. I remember a guy named John Roberts, who was also a big VJ on the, maybe he was on Much Music, and then he went into news and he became an anchor, and now he's on Fox News.
He was on Fox. He was on CNN at one point, I think. John,
I know he was at CNN, and he's
that's right. Yeah, he was with Much Music back in the.
And very good friends with Rush. Very, very good friends.
Oh wow, yeah, cool. No, yeah. So it's not as big today, but it's hard to tell what everything's like these little pieces right now. There's no, one time it was easy, put your song on the radio and do a video and $1 million and have fun. That's not the way music is now, but it's sort of, it's your world now, it's the musician, it's the artist can, if you're creative, you have to be a better entrepreneur than before. And if you got some of those skills, then you can build a pretty nice business.
Absolutely. That's so true. Well, best wishes to you. And hopefully this entire pandemic will really come to a close in Canada, especially, so you can get out there and travel throughout the provinces and hopefully come down to the States as well. We hope so.
No, awesome. And thank you very much. And I'm glad, April and you hooked up, and this has been a nice chat. And
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.